I like how there's still people out there that sit there and say that the single player games are are dead. Yeah, and then like when a single player game comes out, they're like, finally, this just proves that single player games aren't dead.
It's finally been proven.
Like, that was like a lot. Some of the comments I saw on what should I call it? Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah, people are like, this is like finally a game that's not a multiplayer and a single player and it's fun and blah blah blah. And I'm like, do people just like, do you guys not play like multiplayers and actually have a good time?
People don't have friends.
I guess not.
Lonely,
Mindful of your emotions.
But Master, this is easy.
Like no microtransactions or extra DLC, just a game just a single player game with a good base game, and I'm like, this game's literally 20 hours. And a lot of the time you're gonna be spending is just backtracking, which really pissed me off. Yeah, I'll get that.
Well, I didn't get ripped, but I didn't get what I wanted.
Well, I'm all out of E3s. So at least we got something rare like the Nakondi.
Yeah.
So there, I complained once about the backtracking in the game, and like I got my ass chewed out by people because they're like, it's not backtracking, it's just having fun and exploring. And I'm like, after you beat a level and you have to walk all the way back to your ship, that's backtracking. It's just padding for time. It's not fun. And they're like, no, it's a good way to. And another guy's like, oh no, you're just being a baby because you just want everything handed to you for fast travel. And I'm like, I just want to fast travel once the level's done. I'm like, I enjoyed exploring the level when I like, you know, once I got through it. But once I got through it, I'm done with it. And they're like, nah, they reward you for exploring the entire area. And I'm like, dude, I did like 80% of this area, and it takes me 20 minutes to get through to like get back to the ship.
The reward is to walk around.
The reward of like walking around that place is getting more cosmetic items, so you get a pretty new color for your stupid looking poncho. Like, they're not cool outfits at all. It's like a new poncho or like a new skin for the ship, which you like rarely see the ship, so who cares? A new poncho or a new skin for the robot, which I got the skins I wanted for that robot like automatically. So, whatever. And I'm like, all these cosmetics suck ass. And then, like, I saw one guy, like earlier today complain about the backtracking, and he's like, this is just padding for the game. I don't like it at all. There should be a fast travel system, just to fast travel to your ship at any time you want, so you can just get it done and over with once you're done exploring. And everyone's like, whatever, dude, you're just dumb. You just don't like exploring. And one guy was like, and the other guy was like, dude, like, it rewards you for going through and exploring. You can like level up and fight enemies constantly. And I'm like, who wants to do just farm enemies forever? That's boring. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, once you run through the area once, you should be good and done with the entire area. You know, you shouldn't have to go like Dark Souls, stop, farm, and you know, do that constantly.
We're laying low, but the storm's clearing.
It should just be where you just have more to explore.
Yeah. And like, you know, like every planet I did, I was like at 80%, and I'm like, I never want to return to any of these planets to get any of these other cosmetics. I'm done.
Like, why not just make it to a circle?
Yeah. And like, some people are like, nah, the shortcuts make it a lot easier to go through. And I'm like, these shortcuts do not make it faster to go through. Like, some areas are like a lot easier to go through. Like, the planet Dathomir was like super fast. Like, there's one shortcut that literally goes to the end of the level. And I'm like, that's awesome. But the areas I haven't explored are at the bottom of the map, which takes like 20 to 30 minutes to get to. Because there's like, the shortcuts are not short for that, like getting to the bottom. And that's how like some of the other maps are. Like their shortcuts are like, oh wow, it's like you can like travel like a couple feet over there, but that's really it. And I'm like, I could have just like walked and jumped off this cliff and make it over there. This isn't a shortcut. But yeah, most of the game's backtracking. Like you beat the area, then you backtrack all the way back, and it's so fucking boring.
They've broken through and called reinforcements.
You don't want to
Every
respawn the
Star
enemies
Destroyer
because the
in
enemies
sector
can
is
get you
on
with
their way
bullshit.
here. If they get here before you do.
No, we didn't come
Like,
all
well,
this way to
you
get
know,
captured.
it's one of those games where like your character's responsive sometimes.
See her. We've
Only
got company.
sometimes.
Tell Grease to close the man.
What?
It's like, you know, you're trying to do an attack and your character just randomly turns around. You're like,
Trust me.
come on.
We do. We'll close the ship.
What the fuck?
The combat in that game's fun when it works, and it's fun when you fight stormtroopers and you can like, you know, deflect those bullets back at them and shit.
Do the fun stuff.
Yeah. But like even boss fights are kind of lame because you can't parry bosses. Like you can parry, you know, stormtroopers and the other enemies, but like if you fight a boss, you don't parry them and do a cool move and kill them. With bosses, it's like you parry them, you attack, they parry you, they attack, you parry them, they attack, they parry you, they attack. And it's like it was like that on one boss fight I did, and I was like, this is getting dumb.
Right here, BD.
And the story wasn't that good. Everyone's like, I love the story, and I'm like, dude, it's not that great.
I love the story, but do you though?
Because like the story is, you're a Padawan who's cut himself from the Force because you know you don't want to get caught, but then you use the Force to save your mining buddy. And then the Inquisitors show up because they're like, there's a Jedi around here. And then your mining buddy gets his fucking ass kicked and gets killed. And then, you know, you use your force powers, and then like some random black lady's like, we heard chatter from the Empire that, you know, you're a Jedi, so get in the ship. And then she's like, hey, I'm a Jedi, but I cut myself from the Force because the Inquisitors beat my ass and killed my Padawan. And it's like, well, I guess and it was like, yeah, I got tortured and they just took my Padawan, and I'm like, you didn't say kill, so obviously the Inquisitor that's hunting me down is gonna be your Padawan. Spoiler alert, I was right. And then, yeah, and then the lady's like, you should follow my old master from what he was doing. And go to this planet and find this person who's gonna help you. So you go to the planet, ends up the person's a robot, and the robot's like, hey, I got a hologram of what this old guy did, so just follow what he does. So that's what you do. You go to each planet to go find this Jedi holocron, and then when you get the Jedi holocron, it's like, hey, this is a holocron that'll tell you where every single Force-sensitive child's at, so you can rebuild the Jedi Order. And then you get it after going through each planet. But the what?
Like the X-Men?
Yeah, like the X-Men. So then you go through each planet, you do their own little, you know, you do their thing, get pieces and information of where to go next.
You did it.
And the Inquisitor lady shows up and she's like, she never told you who I was. And you're like, I know enough. She told me you killed her. And she's like, no, I am her Padawan. And you're like, no, it's fucking Empire Strikes Back.
And a failed Padawan. Bunch of screw-ups.
Actually, he's not like, no, he's like, okay. I don't give a fuck. And then he goes back to the ship and he's like, why did you lie to me? And she's like, and I'm like, this isn't important, people.
I get that now. Thank you.
I'm like, just cool your nuts for a bit, because this isn't important. Let's just get back to getting the Jedi Order rebuilt. And then the guy has PTSD over fucking, Order 66, which was fucking sweet. That was cool as hell. I loved every second of that. But then we get back to the main plot, which is boring as shit. You go to Dathomir, and this like Night Sister lady who's a dark side user, you know, not part of the Sith. She's like, "Hey, this guy on my planet's pretty lame. Want to go beat his ass with me?" And you're like, "Sure."
Wasn't there a gigantic
You have a
crash
nice
ship on Zepho?
sack of
Think there's any good loot in that
boobs.
thing?
So then you beat up this random guy who's like, "I'm a Jedi, and with the power of the dark side, we can kill the Emperor." And you're like, "No, I don't think so." And then you kill him, and then the Night Sister lady's like, "Hey, I don't have friends. Let's be friends." And then you like, with the power of friendship, she joins you, and then like at one point, the Inquisitor lady steals the Jedi holocron, and she's like, "With this, I can get all the kids." So then you go to the castle of the Inquisitors, which is underwater for some reason.
Yes.
They go get the
Be ready to face your past.
thing back
What about you and Trilla?
to get the
I don't know.
holocron. So then you fight her,
You know what you need to do.
and then
this
you
time.
beat her ass because she's a
And I'm
bitch.
so proud of you for that.
And then
I
Vader
had my
shows
own
up, kills her. Black
for you if
Lady's
you need
like, "No, my Padawan." And like Vader throws her off a cliff, like legit, just like nonchalantly throws her off a cliff, and it's hilarious. But then you run away from Vader because you know you can't fucking handle Vader. It's Darth Vader. And then, but yeah, you got the Jedi holocron back. You're running away from Vader. You get away from Vader because you like throw the ocean at him. Black Lady ends up being alive after being thrown off a cliff. You get on the ship, you leave, and then you're like, "I got the Jedi holocron," but we don't. But the main character is like, "But here's the thing, the Force can like take care of these kids." And then he cuts the Jedi holocron in half. So everything you did to get that Jedi holocron was a waste of time. The game ends.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there's no order.
There's no order. You don't make a new Jedi order. Everything you did in the game was kind of random. The Force, the Night Sister lady that shows up that that you become friends with and joins your crew, is literally there just to rescue you at the end when you're drowning in the water because you can't escape a fucking water planet by swimming.
Nothing. Just kidding.
Swimming's too hard.
Yeah. So yeah, like she's only there to save you at the end. She's only part of your crew for like maybe an hour. And I'm like, are they trying to like do a cool Mass Effect build your own crew like thing? Because it doesn't work like that. Like every character has like doesn't have any character development besides the main character, and I could have cared less about him. And people are like, "This game's so good, I love this story." And I'm like, "There's no story here." Like, no characters have development. Like, one moment the Inquisitor lady's evil, and then you talk to her, and you're like, with the power of friendship, she's good now. And then she gets stabbed in the back and dies.
Makes sense.
Like, Black Lady's Black Lady, she has really huge bug eyes, and it kind of creeps me out. But she doesn't have any character development. She's like, "I cut myself from the Force because I can't forgive myself for letting my Padawan become a Inquisitor." But then she beats her fucking Inquisitor lady again, and she's like, "Hey, just be good." And that was her character. That was her character development.
Just be good.
Yeah. Cal has PTSD. That's his character development. He gets over it by murdering tons of people. And then there's four-armed ship captain man, who I don't even know why he's there. He likes plants.
Be captain the ship.
But like that could be anyone in Star Wars, you know? Like driving a ship in a sci-fi like world is probably like driving a car in our world. You don't need someone specifically for it. And like he's just there. It's like he's like, "I like plants." And I'm like, "Okay." He's like, if you run across some plants on these planets, you can pick them up and give them to me. And I'm like, "Okay."
You can give them to me. Yeah,
Then,
right.
there's one part of the game where you can get captured by bounty hunters, and once you get there, it was like the bounty hunter guy's like, you can thank the captain man for bringing you to us," and I'm like, What? This literally came out of left field. What's going on? Like, I had absolutely no idea what was going on. And I'm like, and then like I get out of there and Captain Man's like, sorry, those guys smell like piss. You shouldn't associate with them. And I'm like, what is happening? But yeah, that's Jedi Fallen Order. I did not like the story at all. I would say the game's like worth 20, like 10 to 20 bucks. Like it's filled with bugs, like stupid bugs, and like not like they're like retarded bugs that like shouldn't exist. Like, you know, like getting stuck on crates like every video game does which shouldn't exist in this time period, but they still do. You know, clipping through the map so you can't grab ledges because it's a platformer. So clipping through the map so you can't grab a ledge is kind of annoying.
That is kind of stupid.
Yeah, and it's just little things like that that just add up, and I'm like, come on. And then like,
how something gets past everybody. That's in the game.
yeah, and then it's just other things like the controls not being responsive and stuff, and the random frame rate drops. Like some people said they had frame rate drops where it like goes from like 30 to 5. My only problem with the frame rate was when the game stopped, like 100% stopped when I entered an area, because it was like, hold up, we gotta load everything. And I'm like, I was here 2 seconds ago, why'd you deload everything? It can't be like Dark Souls and just make everything like its frame rate ass from like super far away, but then like it just gets better when you get closer, and everything gets ass when you're walking away.
Oh, that's it.
Just loads only where you are.
But it was some game we played. I don't remember what it was though. But yeah, Jedi Fallen Order is like an average game, and everyone's here saying it's like one of the best games. It's the Game of the Year contender, and I'm like, no. It's an average game with bugs.
It could be a Game of the Year contender because the rest of them would be bad.
True. Every game this year has not been a Game of the Year contender. They've all been whatever. Like, people are so desperate for video games this year, they think every game's great. There's been nothing really outstanding this year.